CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I am one of your co-hosts, Nick Quaglia, here with Mike Molyneaux and Marv Ezhan. And we are here I don't know when this video exactly comes out, but we're going to hit on training camp storylines and, the two main one guys, Stephon Gilmore and the contract situation. Although he will be there, which is a bit of a surprise. I want to talk to you guys about that. And, of course, the quarterback situation. And then near the end, we're going to get into more fantasy football talk because that's at this point, that's probably our favorite thing to do on the show. Okay, so Patriots training camp storylines. Either one of you, doesn't matter. What's the main thing that you've got your eye on heading into training camp?
I'm not going to lie. This might have not been something I thought was going to be such a big story. But I think Mac Jones has played himself in a role where if Cam doesn't step up, Mac Jones can now make things interesting during training camp. It's 5 weeks.
Do you think Cam has to have really good training camp or just be decent?
I think what Mac Jones has shown is if Cam flops, it's no question Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback. At first, for me, it was guaranteed Cam Newton's the starting quarterback. They're going to groom Mac Jones. But from everything you've been hearing, we've been reading, Mac Jones, he understands what's going on. He understands the playbook. He's been making smart reads. He gets it. Now he's got 5 weeks here to really bust his ass and see if he can try to shoot for that QB1 spot. Obviously, I still think Cam Newton has a grip hold on it. And if he does everything by the book and it doesn't flop, he has it. But he's opened the door. The door is now open for Mac Jones to try to sneak his way in to be the QB1. And I think that makes it for a fun training camp now. It makes it that Cam Newton knows that he's got to go in every day and go off. There's not one day he can slouch because he's got someone ready to go. And I think that's going to be we haven't had a QB battle in New England for years. I think we have a legitimate one this year.
Right. In something that, I saw some people arguing with him on Twitter. Doug Kyed had posted today. Bill Belichick had his press conference today. The football question for you: will there be an open competition for starting quarterback during this training camp? And Bill Belichick responded by saying, "Yeah, as I said, every one of us has to go out and establish our level of performance, whatever our role in or capacity is. It's a new season. We've done some things in the spring, but this is really the start of football season in terms of the team building part here in training camp. We all have a lot of work to do, and that includes all of us. So we go out and we do anything, so it's pretty much a clean slate." Now, the reason I bring that up, and again, I saw some people arguing with Doug about that on Twitter. I think that says something because if you guys remember, previously, Bill Belichick just said Cam is QB1.
Yeah.
Cam is a starter. He didn't say that this time. It sounds like there's going to be a competition.
Yeah, I mean, it is different this time around. You look back to last year, the quarterback position was kind of up in the air. I mean, they signed Cam. There was a lot of people still on the Jared Stidham hype train, but that completely fell off the rails a couple weeks into training camp once he got injured and just kind of disappeared off the map. And it was just Cam Newton solidified as the QB1 coming out of last year's training camp. This year, like Marv was saying, obviously they drafted a quarterback really high. And in my opinion, you take a quarterback that high, he could quite possibly be your starting quarterback week one, or you see him being your future quarterback in the next season or 2 or 3, whatever the case may be. But
can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
this was part of that thread. Bill Belichick on April 29th. So this was after they drafted Mac Jones. He said, Cam Newton's our quarterback. It doesn't seem like that's definitive.
Yep.
This time it's not as definitive.
When it comes to Bill Belichick and the comments he made in that most recent press conference, some people would chalk it up to him kind of alluding to, well, whoa, I guess the QB position is wide open. Or some people might just chalk it up to, oh, Bill Belichick's being given his usual answers where he's not really, giving away too much information. But I don't know, man. It seems as if you don't know what to expect when you're looking at this quarterback position in New England. Yeah, Cam Newton's been there. Yeah, Cam Newton has, has the career under his belt where he's been around for a while. He's a veteran in the game, but ever since Mac Jones has stepped into New England coming out of OTAs and whatnot, you haven't heard much negative stuff about him. And now you're almost none, exactly. And now you're stepping into a situation where training camp, and yeah, Cam Newton was the starting quarterback last year, but he didn't do anything to really solidify his position, which is why it could be wide open. So I think, again, like Marv said, as long as Mac Jones shows enough, and if Cam Newton starts to stumble and flop, I don't think anybody is really writing with a pen Cam Newton week 1 starter yet. It's probably in pencil right now, not in pen.
I'm with you guys in the sense where if Cam stumbles at all in training camp, it sounds like Mac Jones is a legit talking point here, because once Mac Jones was drafted, obviously everybody gets excited, especially after what happened last season. They're like, okay, maybe the Patriots have a quarterback starting week 1, but then you think it's Bill Belichick. Is he really going to start a rookie quarterback on the Patriots in week 1? And just going back to that quote that he had, he said, so this is continued after Cam Newton's our quarterback, whatever position, whatever time Jarrett Stidham or Mac Jones are ready to challenge and compete, then we'll see how that goes. So if that's the case, it sounds like Mac Jones has proved enough over the past few months, again, even as a rookie, which is impressive, that he's ready to compete. And if he's ready to compete, I think this is going to be a real QB competition. You asked me a couple months ago, I thought there was very little chance that Mac Jones could be your quarterback come week 1. Nope. But he left the door open today, which I find incredibly interesting.
Outside of Bill Belichick, another person you got to look at who has a lot of say in the offense is Josh McDaniels, and you should hear how Josh McDaniels talks about Mac Jones, and that's what I listen to. What's Josh McDaniels saying? He obviously he's had great things to say about Cam Newton, and how he brings a different type of offense to the team. But the way he speaks about Mac Jones, you can tell that obviously we've seen Josh McDaniels' system work for a guy like Tom Brady, and Mac Jones fits that type of build, and he's been speaking glowingly for him. So if Mac Jones is really exceeding expectation, they're going to force the Patriots' hand, especially the media is going to jump on it, because we all seen what happened with Cam Newton. There was times last year, even when we knew we had Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer as a quarterback, there was times at the end of the year we were on this show talking about maybe we should try to just start Jarrett Stidham next week and just see what happens, because clearly the season's a loss and you're not going anywhere with Cam Newton.
I still don't get why they didn't. Like, that just made sense.
Pride, too much pride.
Too much pride, but like, to me, all that said was, and we talked about this a bunch on the show, all that said to me was Jarrett Stidham he's not going to be the guy. He's never going to be the guy, because if you can't step up at that point, if you can't beat Brian Hoyer out for the Kansas City game, I mean, come on. You clearly lost the job.
That game said enough. If they didn't have Cam Newton and they went with Hoyer over Stidham, that was the writing on the wall as to what Jarrett Stidham means to this team and his skill set.
And you could have won that game. You just had to get a little better quarterback play than what you got out of Brian Hoyer. They were in that game. That was a good game.
Oh man, that was very frustrating. That was very frustrating.
Still have yet to see Brian Hoyer ever again. I don't know where he's at. I know he's back on the team or whatnot, but like, I personally haven't even seen or heard or anything.
I haven't seen many pictures of him.
I haven't seen anything of Brian Hoyer since that Kansas City game.
It's he disappeared after that game, and who knows? I mean, I haven't seen him whatsoever.
Does he make the roster?
So that was the question.
He needs to make the coaching staff, not the roster. That's what he needs to make.
Yeah. So the team can't carry 4 quarterbacks.
They will not.
That's irresponsible.
They will not. It's not happening. Not a chance.
Will Jarrett Stidham make the roster?
He should.
So he landed himself on the PUP list too.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, see that I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
Oh boy!
So he won't be performing during probably the first couple of weeks of training camp.
You can come off the PUP list, I think, really at any time. Stidham's inclusion on the PUP list for the start of the training camp was considered a surprise by media outlets covering the Patriots because, we didn't know about any injury.
That's not good.
No, it's not good. Not ideal. Definitely don't want your guy hurt. That's for sure.
At this point, maybe he can get cut. Like, what are they holding on to him for? For what?
That's my thing. Even if he's healthy,
not the future.
Like, why have him?
He's not
unless
the
you
future.
unless you plan on trading Cam. What's the point?
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what purpose Jarrett Stidham serves on the roster because he's not the present and he's not the future. So what are we doing here? I can understand Hoyer because he's a veteran, leadership, sure. But Stidham, what are we doing? What's the point? I don't get it.
Hoyer's QB coach too. So I just don't think you can cut him. I don't think they're going to cut him.
That's going to be interesting because we all agree that 4 quarterbacks will not be making a 53-man roster.
No way.
It would be nuts.
One thing I'm saying.
No, go.
I was just gonna switch it up a little bit. But if you want to add on to that point, Nick, go ahead.
No. I was actually gonna move on too. Where are you gonna go with?
I just wanted to talk about the Stephon Gilmore situation real quick because with him,
dude, the chemistry on this show, that's right. It's unbelievable.
Hey, that's what happens when you've been working together for years. But I'm so happy that it didn't turn ugly. And Stephon Gilmore, by all accounts, doesn't seem like that type of guy to make it real ugly and, be going off on social media. He doesn't seem like that type of guy, first and foremost. Second of all, during his time in New England, he's been treated amazing. From the organization in a sense, obviously, if you want to talk about contract or whatnot, but from the organization, from the fans, he's been treated great and he's enjoyed, his best seasons of his career in New England, in my opinion. So I'm just happy that obviously, he feels some type of way about his contract situation and how he's being paid. But the fact that it didn't turn ugly, like many situations we've seen around the NFL over the years, I'm happy it didn't go that route because that could have blown up to something. We're talking about one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the league. And if you wanted to make it ugly about his contract situation, he could have very much have done that and gone that route.
And Patriots got to do him right and give him a contract. They got to do right by him.
He's been your best, one of your, if not the best defensive players on your team the last 2 or 3 seasons.
He's going to be a huge reason why this defense is elite. You look on paper, Patriots look like they have one of the top defenses in the league. If you take Stephon Gilmore out, that's a huge gap in that defense that you're going to have to fill in because you don't have outside of JC and Stephon Gilmore, you're not really trusting those other corners to be a lockdown guy, and that would have changed their whole defense. So having Gilmore there really helps out their scheme. Gilmore didn't make any noise, like you said. He did a little Twitter thing that we debated earlier about just contract-wise, but as he should have. I think we all agree he should get paid a lot more than he is. I think he's going to come out in this training camp, show that he's healthy, and Patriots got to do right by him.
And I think his contract's going to come down to how he performs at training camp, because if he shows that he's healthy, because the injury that he had was pretty serious. So if he shows that he's healthy, I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots are like, hey, we just need you. I wouldn't be shocked if they had a nice little meeting. Like, hey, pal, we just need you to show up, and we need you to just prove that you're all good. That's all. And if you're all good, you got the money coming to you.
And if there's one training camp where he can really show out, is this one, because you got to worry about Cam Newton throwing the ball and a rookie Mac Jones. He might be able to show out really well in this training camp with the quarterbacks back there, because you got a rookie that still learning and whatnot, and we all know what kind of arm Cam Newton has right now. So maybe Stephon Gilmore is going to really come out and show out in this training camp.
He's going to be the reason Jarrett Stidham gets cut.
Jeez.
He's going to be the reason.
Maybe we got improved receivers. Maybe they help him out. But speaking of receivers, N'Keal Harry, what's the deal with N'Keal? Because he's gonna show up for training camp, and he's another guy who needs to perform in the preseason to get traded.
It's so awkward. Like, I know this is not the first situation where a player who wants out still shows up to training camp in any sport, but I can't imagine how awkward it is guys showing up who clearly doesn't want to be on the team, has made his trade request public, but is still going to show up to training camp and whatnot. Like I saw a picture today. I don't know who tweeted out, but it had a picture of like all the offensive weapons on the Patriots, just like a hype photo or something. And damn, you would think 3 years in, N'Keal Harry's one of the top faces on that picture, but not at all.
What highlight are they going to show?
It wasn't even a highlight like real. It was just a picture of like Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, just a couple of guys, the offensive weapons. And you would think the guy who's probably been around the longest would have a picture on there, but he doesn't. He doesn't. And it's just
he doesn't deserve one either.
No, he doesn't. He got screwed out during that Kansas City game a couple years ago, though, because that would be the highlight. But they called him out of bounds. That would be the highlight that they would use. Because when this guy
over and over and over again.
When this guy gets close to the end zone, things go wrong. He's phantom stepping out of bounds, fumbling the ball out of the end zone. Things just go wrong when he has the ball near the end zone. So, maybe that's something else the Patriots are looking at. And who said, Marv, did you say it was awkward? Or Mike? Who said it was awkward?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's like you're requesting a trade, and then you show up like, hey, guys, I know I said I didn't want to be here, but I'm still here. I feel like it's like the same as like living with your girlfriend and breaking up with her and being like, all right, well, we still both live here.
Yeah.
Like, where do I go?
Guy's gonna what? Is he gonna take valuable reps away from other guys who are dedicated to the team? Like, what is supposed to happen in training camp?
The thing is, he needs to perform in training camp. Otherwise, he's not going anywhere. He needs to show teams that he's
going
valuable.
anywhere anyway.
But if say he does have one good game,
anyway.
say he has one good game in the preseason, one team is gonna pull up a fly. What's the quarterback that I'm blanking on his name? Quarterback that the Colts have that used to play for us.
Brissett? Jacoby Brissett?
Brissett. Jacoby went off in his last preseason game. Went off. He got his value up, and the Colts got him.
That's true, but his value also went up during that Texans game.
That is also true. Then he also lost, though. He also had a bad game the week after.
He did.
I'm just saying. N'Keal has 4 catches, 60 yards, show some flashes. A team's gonna say, all right, we'll throw a 6th round or something for N'Keal and see if we can be the reason why he's better.
Dude, I just think most teams are just like, okay, well, if we want him, we can just wait for the Patriots to cut him.
Yeah, that's also true.
Because I don't know if he makes the roster this year.
No, he's definitely not making the roster. I think
right. So why trade assets? Just wait.
There's 2 roster spots open probably for the wide receiver position. Because you have to think who's a lock. Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Jacoby, right? Those are locks.
Yeah, true.
Matthew Slater takes 1. So that's
Gunner.
That's 4. And Gunner, because of special teams, I mean, he's still gonna have to bust his ass during training camp to show he can be an offensive weapon. But
I think Gunner's got this on lock. I wouldn't be
think
shocked.
He's a lock. I think he's gonna get in, but you guys think he's a lock?
I think Gunner is a lock.
He's closer to being on the bubble than a lock, I would say.
Right, because they did bring in some other guys. Like you do have some Spitzers and like Marvin Hall that they brought in. That receiver that they drafted, Nixon, I believe.
Yep,
So if you guys saying Gunner's a lock, there's probably 1 roster spot open.
I think Gunner makes a team like you said though, mostly for special teams.
Right. So now you having Slater and Gunner on a team that are not going to give you anything offensively.
No, and I mean you brought in 2 tight ends too, and one of those 2 tight ends are probably going to lead your team in receptions this year. You got to imagine.
Very likely.
Okay, so let's get into the fantasy football segment, and this is something that we teased at the end of last week's show. Who is a guy that you are never going to have on your fantasy football team again? Who is somebody that it doesn't matter if they're sitting in it doesn't matter if they're clearly the best guy available. Who are you never taking again? Either one of you who wants to go.
I mean, we already teased it a little bit last show. We said the name last show, and I will say it again. I will never, ever, ever, ever draft Joe Mixon ever again.
Nobody
ever
should.
Again.
Nobody should.
I took a chance on him 1 year, and again, he dropped in the draft. But I'm like, well, this guy's dropped in. And at the time, he was like he led the AFC in rushing yards or something like that, or the AFC North. I think that's where the Bengals are. I think it's the North. But he led them in rushing yards. And I was like, well, I'll take a chance. Like, he was going to be my RB2. Solid. Drafted him. Sucked. Next year, he dropped again. And I'm like, all right, I know how last year went, but he's available at this spot, and I need a running back. Let me take a chance. And at this point, he was more so flex, RB2 flex type of situation. Took a chance, and he was even worse. And the thing is, he's listed, and Bengals use him as their top guy. I'm talking about a guy who will get 15 carries a game and do absolutely nothing, the bare minimum. For a guy you draft or want to have on your team as somebody you can depend on as a running back, Joe Mixon has failed back-to-back years. So you fool me once, you fool me twice. Third time, it's not even going to happen. So I don't care what pick it is or who's around him or what. Joe Mixon will not make any of my fantasy teams at all during this 2021 fantasy season.
Marv, you got dude.
Well,
nobody should draft Joe Mixon. Yeah. Nobody.
Joe Mixon's never gonna fool me.
Never. But it's gonna happen. He's gonna go like relatively early.
Yeah, because the volume's there. I wouldn't
even put him. I wouldn't even want him sitting on my bench every week. I don't even want to see his name on my roster.
I got two. One who's no longer as relevant anymore. We are seasoned fantasy players, and another one who's relevant. The first one, it was Rob Gronkowski.
Ooh.
Never.
That name will still get you.
Oh man,
got me last year.
It got me twice. It's similar to Mike, a two year in a row situation where I was drafting at the 10th spot. So if fantasy drafts, and if you're watching this far ahead, that means fantasy. When you're in the 10th spot, it's the snake. So you get like a back-to-back pick. Pretty much it's the turn. So all the good running backs are taken, probably the stud wide receivers taken. So my strategy is, all right, let me go get the top tight end, Rob Gronkowski. I live in New England. It's an easy person to root for. And the 2 years in a row that I got him, he just, Rob Gronkowski just got hurt. It's always got hurt. And then the last year I had him, it was his down year with the Patriots. So he was healthy. He just sucked. The whole team sucked pretty much until the Rams Super Bowl game, but that doesn't help fantasy-wise. So Rob Gronkowski is someone that I won't ever draft. I mean, now it doesn't really matter. He's not as fantasy relevant. A guy now, and he's in a great situation, but what he's done to me, I can't forgive him for. Amari Cooper.
Woo! Oh, my God. He got me 1 year bad.
Amari Cooper, Mr. Houdini. It's like magic. He's that player. He has a great game, but you didn't play him. So you're like, all right, he went for 10 catches, 100 yards. I'm gonna put him in playing this week. Then he can easily give you 0 catches. Easily, especially when he's with the Raiders, 0 catches. And then you bench him the following week because he gave you 0, and then he goes off again on your bench. And that's the story of Amari Cooper. And then, he has some catastrophic drops. And listen, Amari Cooper's in a great situation. He's probably going to get drafted high. I really like his value in fantasy this year, but I won't do it. I won't do it to myself, not for what he's done to me. I'm all set on Amari Cooper. There's another great wide receiver with the Dallas Cowboys that I'll go shoot for, but Amari Cooper ain't it. This heartbreak over heartbreak over heartbreak. Mike, I heard you scream. You had Amari?
I had Amari Cooper that his last year or the year he got traded. Did he get traded mid-season to Dallas?
He got traded mid-season.
I took him literally with my either first or second pick. And I was like, word, Amari Cooper, yes. I got a solid
first or second pick overall?
I don't know about second, but he was either my first round or second round pick. And I got him, and I was so hyped because I was like, yo, he's about to go off. Him and Derek Carr, number 1 receiver. I was hyped. He sucked. He quite possibly is one of the major reasons why I lost that year or didn't make the playoffs or just didn't get as far as I should have because I put so much hope in him. And yeah, I would take a chance. I'm not like Marv where I'm like never again, but that year I got him and he failed me when he was in Oakland. that hurt me a lot.
Listen, with Dak coming back, he's going to be tempting.
He's going to be tempting. I admit he's going to be good value, but it won't be me. It won't be me.
See, I'm stuck on a couple guys. Like with DJ Chark.
Ooh, I like Chark. He disappointed me last year, though.
The last year was bad. Or
Chark.
he had a big first season, when he busted on the scene. And now he's with Arizona. So, who knows? But James Conner.
Oh, that's a good one.
James Conner.
That dude sucks.
James Conner last
Mike
season.
drafted everybody.
Had a lot of leads.
James Conner and the Bucks. James Conner and the rest of the Bucks roster.
Nah, that was two different leagues. I promise you, that was two different leagues. Two different leagues. I promise you.
Nick. James Conner at the start of last season. I'm doing my research. I'm watching a bunch of videos, reading articles, all that. A ton of people were like, "This is the guy this year. You want him on your team. If you get the opportunity, you take James Conner." And the inconsistency is off the charts.
He started off hot.
He did start off hot. What are the numbers?
He started off
well, week 1, 2 points. But then 21 and 24 points.
Yeah.
And there were injuries mixed in, but it's just with my running back, and I know this is tough to ask, but I put so much value on the consistency of my running backs that I need my running back to be putting up consistent points every week. And that's just not his thing. That's just not his thing. But I don't know, not Najee Harris this year in Pittsburgh.
I feel like there's a lot of hype going into Najee.
I might grab him. I might try to get him kind of early.
Early? What
Not
round?
Too early, but mid, 4th, 5th.
Yeah, I put in stock in a rookie running back with Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year. I wish I didn't.
I did that with Josh.
He started
Jacobs.
off hot too, didn't he?
He started off hot, and he's still a good player. Just Patrick Mahomes doesn't give a damn about the running game.
It's true.
Doesn't give a damn.
Dude, Mike, I had Josh Jacobs too.
Josh Jacobs also started off hot.
Dude, and what blue balls that was. Because his week 1, he was good. You were like, okay, all right, I got Josh Jacobs early. He's going to be my guy this year. And he just fell off. It was I don't know if it was more so the offensive line there or if it was Josh Jacobs. But every time he had the football, and I mean, on top of that, John Gruden was just running him into the ground last season. But every time the ball was handed off to Josh Jacobs, it was like he was running into the arms on purpose of a middle linebacker and getting stopped early. Josh Jacobs was maybe one that I should have picked.
I put a lot of faith in Josh Jacobs, but also inconsistency and whatnot was just not helpful. Wasn't helpful at all.
You know who I'm going to fall for this year? And I know it. I'm telling myself no, but I know I'm going to fall for him this year.
No.
New Raiders running back, Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake, man, he was special for me some years.
Yeah, was it last year, the year before? He was solid somewhere. Not last year.
He was pretty. He played for Arizona last year.
Yeah, it was the Cardinals, and he split time with Johnson, David Johnson, a little bit, right?
Chase Edmonds, right?
Chase Edmonds, yeah. David Johnson was with Houston last year.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Chase Edmonds and Drake split time. I remember I picked up Edmonds hoping I think Drake got hurt, picked up Edmonds. He had 1 or 2 games, and then Drake came back, and Edmonds went back to oblivion. And just fantasy really could give you a headache, man.
It's crazy just thinking about we just brought up David Johnson and James Conner. It's just crazy how these were first round picks just a couple years ago. They're not old players, but the running back just falls off so quick.
That's what I meant to ask you guys. That's a question I meant to ask. Why do you think, and obviously in football, why do you think running backs it's so common to be a one-hit wonder at the running back position. Because I mean, it kind of happens in other sports. You know, you sometimes have pitchers in baseball have one crazy season, and then they're nothing the next season. It doesn't happen too much in basketball. Like, if you're good, you're going to be solid. But in football, especially at the running back position, a running back can have a great season and then like just disappear off the face of the earth the next season for the rest of their career. Why is that so?
It's the Payne Hillis effect.
Why does it happen so much?
It's just that position, bro. You're blocking, you're running into linemen every single time. Just a wear in your body, wear and tear in your body, and then
you beat the piss out of it.
Yeah, it's just you're getting, and then that's not only that in practice as well. I mean, and NFL has changed its rules and everything, but you got to think back just 5-6 years ago. You're getting pounded in practice, then you got to play the game, get pounded there. Like, look at Todd Gurley. This was one of the greatest running back starts we ever seen. Like, oh my God, Todd Gurley got the biggest contract ever. He doesn't have a team.
Crazy. And
Is
I don't
he a
even
free
think
agent?
Todd Gurley's a free agent.
I don't even think he's 30. He's definitely not 30.
He's not 30.
He's at least maybe
26, 27.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have a
that.
team right now.
He's got to be picked up. Well,
maybe the Rams pick him up with
So
with
he's not with the Falcons?
No, he's not with the Falcons.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, he's a free agent. Him and Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson's just a freak. At this point, we just got to say Adrian Peterson's a freak. There's no one like him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I worry about guys like Derrick Henry. Like, I worry about those running backs who are freaks, who put up huge numbers, because you never know. Like, the next season, they could just fall off.
Yeah.
See
It all
it
depends
all the
on
time.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the offensive line to me. But whatever. That's it, guys. Anything else?
No, man.
Getting closer and closer.
September, I got 2 drafts. 2 drafts in September.
In September? What's week 1?
Week one is like in September 9th. So
September 9th?
Yeah.
I don't have my draft set yet, but we usually do the end of August. Losing Cam Akers for the Rams sucks.
That sucks. Yeah.
So bring back Todd Gurley.
Honestly. Like,
and
why not?
They got a couple running backs over there, if I'm not mistaken, too.
They have Henderson. I don't remember who else they have.
Do they have Malcolm Brown?
Oh, Brown.
I think that's his name, Malcolm Brown.
Yeah. That dude has one good week, and then we never hear from him again.
I might have drafted him.
Do you guys do waiver bucks?
What's that?
We have, so at the start of the season, we start off with 100 waiver bucks.
Yeah.
So you bid.
Fab.
And like, dude, I'm a psycho with them. If I see somebody that I want, I bid with myself in my head. I'm like, okay, this dude's gonna want him, so I'm gonna bet 90% of my waiver bucks just to make sure I get this guy, and then he sucks every time.
It's the worst when you spend like $30, and you see the next day it reveals who else bid it, and that next person bid like 2. You're like, what the hell? I just spent 20. That's the worst. Or when you don't get the guy because someone bid like $1 over you, oh, that hurts.
Dude, somebody last season, I bet I wanted J.K. Dobbins so bad, and I think I told you guys this. I bet we start off with 100. I put down 41 waiver bucks.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Sheesh. And the same thing happened the next day. It showed who bet. Next closest was 7.
Yeah, you're crazy. The most money I've ever spent and it worked out was George Kittle's breakout year. Like week 2, I put in like $34. That's the most I've ever put in, and I got him, and he was a force. He was a force for me that year. It was his breakout year. But
Dobbins wasn't. Dobbins was not worth it. All right. CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. Nick Quaglia, Marv, Ezhan, Mike Molyneaux. Guys, we're going to be back next week after training camp begins. So we will talk to you then. We'll have a ton of news to talk with you guys at that point. Again, Nick Quaglia, Marv, Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux. Guys, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.